2012-ish, you went to the States.
End of 2012, early 2013, yeah.
Yeah. I want to understand what made you take the leap of faith and be like, okay, I'm going to start doing music. Because you were always doing that, but okay, now I'm going to start producing it. I'm going to come out with music in a way and saying that I want to show it to the rest of the world. Like, what made you do that?
That's
I want to understand
good
that.
question. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I can identify one in saying but I definitely know before I put out the first one, I think that was officially, the original was Azamatra. I don't think before that there were anything else. The other one, though, I did have my own personal things, experimentations and Facebook and everything, where I'd get like friends' comments and likes and everything, but then that's what you build off of, right? And then, yeah, I mean, I was always going to do it, but like when I went to America, quite honestly, it was the availability of the resource there. You couldn't find, you couldn't possibly afford a microphone if you were in Nepal on your own, and just going there, I was like, okay, here's a microphone, I'm going to learn off of that. So I just gave it a go. And I'm like, okay, here's I don't know, more resources for me to learn and everything. My uni had a piano. I was like, okay, this is something that I need to practice and stuff like that. So yeah, it just I got fortunate with a set of resources I had. I did balance. I was like, okay, maybe I should just start putting it out, whatever happens. And to be honest, I wish I started earlier, because what I've learned is you put something out regardless of whether it's good or bad or absolute garbage. There's always going to be feedback, right? There's only, you look back on it and you realize, okay, this went wrong. Perhaps there's going to be 10 things wrong, and you identify one, and at least for the next one you're not going to make it, right? And that's the thing. I don't think anybody's music career is just one song, and so it's always, if you identify as a songwriter, as a musician, that's always how you're going to look at the world. And therefore, there's always going to be a next song for like maybe the next emotion or the next feeling or the next phase of life. And that is what you go back to and say, this is what I want to do about the next chapter. What did I do bad or wrong or not good enough in the previous one? And how can I actually at least get it right, if not make it perfect? So I think that's the way. I mean, at least. Yeah. I hope that makes sense.
No, of course it does. There needs to be what instigated, sometimes, okay, even with this podcast, something instigated, right? COVID happened, COVID was a big eye-opener for me, like a big one, big one. Everything can be done digitally, everything, anything you want, so why not do it, right? It was a big eye-opener for me. Even there are instances in a person's life when it is like, okay, if I don't do it now, I'll never do it. Did you have that kind of moment?
Yeah. So like I said, I got a microphone. I got a DAW, software, music software. And I was like, oh, put this song together. I'm like, I had it, and I'm like, okay, well, if I wait for this to sound like prime John Mayer on my first go, I'll never do it. So why not just put it out there? And if it goes right, it goes right, and if it goes wrong, it goes wrong. And what I was, what I'm happy about is that. The first thing I put out was Nepali, because most of the things that I listened to or played was not Nepali then. And
does they?
I mean, John Mayer was one of the most listened to artists.
The Continuum Battle Studies together. Did you hear one of those albums?
It might have been, yeah.
Oh man, that's a deep album, bro.
Yeah, and
that's a deep album. Both those albums are like, I remember those albums because they're so deep.
Yeah. For me, Continuum is like the prime.
Oh, yeah, the prime. Oh, man. Yeah. John Mayer has pulled me out of phases of my life, bro.
Yeah. But, I mean, I recently was speaking to someone, and I realized that guy's also mostly sad. I just realized about the songs.
Last Train Home. Last Train Home. Yeah. And then, I downloaded the whole album, but I haven't... I heard that song and I was like, okay, this is different John Mayer from the Battle Studies or the Your Body's a Wonderland was the first time when I was like, oh, okay, John Mayer was a Eurasia.
Okay.
And after that, he went through some dark phase in his life. I don't know, God knows what it is. To Katy Perry time wala. Time wala.
I mean, listen, man, people go through phases, and the thing is, I'm actually happy that he evolved.
Went through that.
Yeah, because I mean, imagine he brings out another continuum. Like you get bored. So I think that's special. But yeah, only
John Mayer coming out with disco album would be would be different.
New Light was kind of a funky one.
Slightly.
And then there was this Bailaco album as well, Born and Raised and everything. Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. I didn't like it for the longest time, but then like when you actually go back and listen to it, you just see the genius.
I don't even think I can hum this song. Neon, but listen, even that was like, it was like touching into it. And now with this new one, I'm like, okay. Anyways, coming back to Sajjan Raj Vaidya from John Mayer. All of us heard John Mayer. Heavily inspired by him in the beginning.
Yeah. It's I think as far back as I can go with playing the guitar and singing and everything, it was I think it was John Mayer that I hooked on to the most. When I really think about it, it's always been that way actually. Even now I listen to him and everything and analyze. Not analyze as in like, oh, you're iti barca iti. No, not like that. It's you just go back and it's like, oh, what is he talking about? And if you've heard In Your Atmosphere, like it's only mostly guitars. It's like, why did he not decide to make this, an album release, things like that? And so for me, that's like, the essence is just like, oh, it's just a heartbreak that has to be captured in just a guitar and a guy, and then he somehow has to make that not boring. And as
not boring.
Yeah, I mean, because the people of the attention span of people, and what people look for has changed so much that if you just introduce two instruments or two elements to people, apparently now people get bored. But somehow he's made it work. It's just a guitar and vocals and a little bit of reverb and deep emotions and a breakup, like I said, another sad song, and he just actually made it work. So yeah, it's just like now the new stuff that you go back to. Like very few people can actually play the guitar like John Mayer, and that's why you always are like learning when you look at that guy as well. But it's not just him. There's obviously that was where everything started. When I started playing the guitar, I was like, okay, I want to play this as well. So I learned Neon, I learned Your Body is a Wonderland, and then White Georgia and everything. And you learn that and you develop your own style. And one of the things I hold very close to my heart is he said, you develop your own style when you fail to sound like the artist you're trying to sound like.
Yeah.
And he was trying to sound like Stevie Ray Vaughan, and he just stumbled upon his own style. So yeah, it's there's a lot to learn from that guy. I don't know him as a person, so I really can't. People sometimes get pissed about, how can you support him and his ideas at this and that and everything. Well, mate, when I put on the music and everything, and he paints me a picture that's just about the song and the emotions that it could possibly be about, and I think that's a skill that not a lot of people have, and I'm happy in that moment.
Well, you got the gist of it.
Yeah.
अहिले आएर फर्केर हेर्दाखेरि हुन्छ नि होइन. I never thought about it that way, but yeah, you got a gist of John Mayer अलिकति slightly.
Yeah, I mean it's I very much agree. It's just not that. I was speaking to Rohita as well, Roy Shaki, and we were talking about just jamming around and everything, and he was like, "Oh, I see that you really like Bon Iver." I'm like, "Oh, I do." And he's like, "Oh, okay, so that's the direction." So it happens. Like I can, off the top of my head, just list of so many artists that have inspired me. So John Mayer, like Bon Iver, like I said, you can just think of like Ben Howard. Everywhere, all around the map, and then you go back and there's the Linkin Park and everything, and Mark, it's all the package of what you listen to, and you get inspired and influenced by whatever you listen to and what you most relate with, and my approach is what I've come to relate with so far at this moment, and that's what I'm trying to do.
That's
hopefully
beautiful.
Hopefully it'll succeed. Yeah.
If you love what we are doing, make sure that you subscribe and turn on notifications.
This program is brought to you by Vyas Studios.